1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Aisha Nayab. The headlines. Prime Minister says government is working on an eco-friendly roadmap to save its future generations from the negative effects of climate change and global warming. Foreign Minister has said promotion of information and communication technology can prove helpful in poverty alleviation and improve food security. Minister for Planning and Development urges the people to keep on following the standard operating procedures and vaccinate themselves to cope with fourth wave of coronavirus in an effective manner. Pakistan has reiterated its firm resolve to continue support the Kashmiri people in their just struggle for inalienable right to self-determination and resolution of the dispute in accordance with UN Security Council resolutions. Kashmiris on both sides of the line of control and across the world observed the 5th martyrdom anniversary of popular Kashmiri youth leader Burhan Muzaffar Wani today. The Afghan government and Taliban in their talks in Tehran have agreed to make efforts for a peaceful political solution of the Afghan conflict. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan says the government is working on an eco-friendly roadmap for Pakistan to save its future generations from the negative effects of climate change and global warming. He was addressing a ceremony in connection with launch of Pakistan's first environment-friendly electric bike in Islamabad today. The Prime Minister said we will devise sustainable policies on environmental protection to materialize the vision of a clean and green Pakistan. Imran Khan said the government's electric vehicle policy would be export-oriented to encourage economic growth by using local raw materials in order to manufacture indigenous products. He said the electric vehicle sector would open up an entirely new sector in the country and generate employment opportunities. Speaking on this occasion, Minister for Industry Sukhsub Bakhtiar expressed the confidence that the sector of electric vehicles would undergo a boost in near future as 17 more companies have shown interest in such production. He said a regulatory framework would be outlined to manage the area of electric automobiles and the related charging infrastructure. He said Africa, Central Asia and Afghanistan would be the target areas for Pakistan to sell out its products in line with its auto development and export policy. Chairman Naya Pakistan Housing Authority Lieutenant General retired Anwar Ali Haider called on Prime Minister Imran Khan in Islamabad today. On the occasion, he briefed the Prime Minister on the progress of Naya Pakistan housing projects. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has said inclusion of the UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030 in Pakistan's National Development Agenda is reflective of its political commitment to ensure an across-the-board uplift of its people. Addressing the launch of 4G broadband services for Multan and Khanewal districts in Islamabad today, he said Pakistan is pursuant of SDGs has adopted certain areas on priority basis, including hunger eradication, health and fitness, quality education and economic growth. The Foreign Minister said information communication technologies and global connectivities are important to enhance human development, eliminate digital divide and build knowledge societies. Shah Mahmood Qureshi said promotion of information communication technology could prove helpful in poverty alleviation by making markets digitally accessible for farmers and improve food security. Minister for Planning and Development Asad Umar says the government will not impose strict lockdown during the fourth wave of coronavirus pandemic feared to surface during current month. Addressing a ceremony in Islamabad today, he said during the past waves of coronavirus, the government's strategy to handle the pandemic and overcome its after effects has been very successful. The minister urged the people to keep on following the standard operating procedures and vaccinate themselves to cope with fourth wave in an effective manner. He, however, said that in case the ratio of positive cases goes up, the government would opt for smart lockdown as was done during the past phase. Minister for Religious Affairs Dr. Noorul Haq Qadri says minorities in Pakistan enjoy complete religious freedom granted in the constitution. Addressing a ceremony of Paigam-e-Pakistan in Islamabad this afternoon, he said minorities have a historical connection to this land and they are the valuable citizens of this country. Chairman China-Pakistan Economic Corridor Authority Asim Salif Bajwa has urged the investors from Singapore to tap the huge opportunities in the newly established special economic zones in Pakistan. Speaking at a webinar on investment opportunities in CPEC related says, he said Singapore investors can benefit from our potential. The event was jointly organized by the Pakistan High Commission and the Embassy of China in Singapore. The chairman CPEC Authority said Singapore could be a role model for economic development for Pakistan and the Pakistan government wants to get expertise of Singapore investors, especially in industrialization. This is Radio Pakistan. Pakistan has reiterated its firm resolve to continue support Kashmiri people in their just struggle for inalienable right to self-determination and resolution of the dispute in accordance with UN Security Council resolutions. In a statement today on the occasion of 5th martyrdom anniversary of popular Kashmiri youth leader Burhan Muzaffar Wani, the Foreign Office spokesperson Zahid Hafiz Chaudhry said this day should serve as a reminder to India to end its egregious human rights violations in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir and take concrete steps towards the resolution of the dispute. He said we also call upon the international community to play its due role in this regard. The spokesperson said Burhan Wani, through his sacrifice, has come to rightly symbolize the indigenous Kashmiri struggle against the illegal Indian occupation. Kashmiris on both sides of the line of control and across the world observed the 5th martyrdom anniversary of popular youth leader Burhan Muzaffar Wani today. Burhan Wani, along with 2 associates, was martyred by Indian troops in a fake encounter in Korengnag area of Islamabad district on this day in 2016. Indian troops martyred 1,425 Kashmiris, including 33 women and 114 young boys, since Burhan Wani was martyred in 2016 in the territory. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, complete shutdown was observed today to mark the 5th martyrdom anniversary of prominent youth leader Burhan Muzaffar Wani. The day was also observed as Resistance Day. Call for the strike was given by the All-Party Hurriyat Conference. Shops and other business establishments were closed while vehicle movements on the roads remained absent from the occupied valley. Meanwhile, Indian troops in their fresh acts of state terrorism martyred 4 more Kashmiri youth in Pulwama and Kulgam districts today. The killing led to anti-India and pro-freedom demonstrations in South Kashmir district. They chanted pro-freedom and anti-Indian slogans. The Afghan government and Taliban have agreed that war is not the solution to the Afghanistan problem and that all efforts must be made for peaceful political solution. A joint statement released after the talks between the Afghan government and Taliban representatives in Tehran said that the 2 sides also agreed to continue talks on the specific mechanisms of establishing an Islamic state at a later meeting. The Taliban delegation was led by the group's negotiator, Sher Mohammad Abbas Sanikzai. The group of Afghan politicians was led by former Vice President Yunus Kanuni, who travelled to Tehran from Kabul. Afghan troops have recaptured government buildings in Kalano, which was attacked by the Taliban as the first direct assault on a provincial capital since the US began pulling out its last troops. The spokesperson from the Afghan Ministry of Interior Affairs said the city has been cleared of Taliban fighters. At least 69 Taliban were killed and 23 others injured when security forces targeted Taliban location in Kalano, city of Badakhsh province. The United States has decided to offer an expedited visa for vulnerable Afghans, including women, politicians, journalists, and activists who worked with foreign powers. U.S. officials said the current plan also includes translators who worked with foreign forces and women who are under threat, but also men and minorities in high-risk professions. In Iraq, at least 3 rockets have targeted the United States Embassy in capital Baghdad's Green Zone. U.S. officials said the 2 U.S. service members were injured in the attacks. There were no immediate claims of responsibility for the attacks. In the first one-day international of three-match series at Cardiff against England, Pakistan were 65 for 4 in 14.1 overs a short while ago. Earlier, England won the toss and elected to field. And finally, the weather. Very hot and dry weather is likely to prevail over the most parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain, wind, thunderstorm is expected at isolated places in Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, Upper Punjab and Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa during the evening and night. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analysis, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live video streaming of our bulletin on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.